So this is the end of day one because it's almost June. We're stopping at 10 AM and we're starting to dig the trenches that we need to put in solid white pipe so we can feed everything. And we're tunneling under the foundations there. There's quite a bit of concrete. Got this whacked out. Great big piles of dirt and rocks, trying to keep them separate. There's the valve starter. So we've got nothing down this way. So we'll come out, give out here, do a T. The T's going to go off that way. There will be more T's, more lines. But this is day one. Okay, this is a pretty good example of the kind of work we're having to do. I've got a trench dug along here. This is where I'm putting in the white PVC pipe. But I also had to uncover where the existing drip line is because I want to connect to those 1/4-inch feeders. Those are the bits that are coming off right there. So I found the main black tube, the stuff that splits, is right there. Then I had to move along a bit, dig a sort of a long trench, and I uncovered it here. This one down here does the loop for everything. So I'm going to have to connect, dig another little trench across here, because I'm going to have an emitter on the end. Then I've got one more emitter that's going to trace down along here and join up with this one here, which feeds this plant at the end. So this is the typical work we have to do. More digging to go, but I did unearth a bunch of rocks along the wall, so I should be able to put the pipe in there without having to dig into the ground. Going to put a new loop around, a drip loop around the tree. More digging. Got to get under the riprap here, so I have to move all the rocks. Yay! I'll never get them back in the same spot. Down to the plants. Going to be a manifold there. Twisted myrtle. Put a manifold in here, feed those three. Got some more riprap to go across. More rocks that I'll get back in the wrong spot. Come up here. Drip loop for the Texas sage. Emu bush gets probably a new drip loop, unless I can find the old one. Right. Then we're going down, back across the riprap. Up here, one for the yellow bells, which is mostly green pods right now. Down here, I have to remove this temporarily, or dig under it or something. Run up the side of the house and then run over to the tree. We're putting piping in now into the trenches. One of the things about this particular trench is I'm trying to avoid this tree, which is growing, but it may not if I cut too many roots. So I'm skirting around it. I'm going to go under the riprap over there and over there. But I need a bend in this tube that is not a standard bend. It's about 15 degrees. So I made up a little tool to measure it. And I'm going to mark the pipe where I want it to start bending. And then I'm going to use something I just discovered with a heat gun. Just take it inside. This is a test piece I was using. I got the heat gun out, heated up a small area for about 30 seconds. Tried just bending it by hand and it immediately buckled. So I thought, okay, that's no good. I'll have to use a tool similar to what the guys use for pipe bending. So I already had some of these from an old project. I put a blocker in the back, heated it up, and I was able to bend it around this form, and it came out a lot better after some heating. Okay, here we go. Then heating it over a couple of inches. Slowly rotate it. Might be enough. Let's find out. Drop that in here. Yeah. I've got to get it lined up. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it here until it sets into this position. Okay, so there it is. It's all set and ready to go. I think I have this pipe set now. While I was at it, I decided to add a little down and up at the bottom of the pipe there to get it into the groove so it goes underneath without having to use bends. It's going to be hard putting bends there. I think that's going to work. The new drip system is complete. So before I turn the water on, I'm going to videotape all the trenches I dug for it. We dug connections. A couple of connections here that are existing. Coming down here, we put a new line in that runs off underneath the riprap and has an emitter on each of these bushes. Running here under the path. There's a connection there to get to the rain lilies in the rocks. There's a connection here to get to these rain lilies. And then down to the plant on the front. Starting up here by the firecracker by the house, you can see it tease out. There's a connection running across to a drip loop that's this big around the plum tree. And we have it coming down, doing these heated bends. There's 5 of them there to get here, where it splits into 3. One of them goes off to that plant, whatever that's called. There's a drip loop we put in around these rain lilies, and then it runs over here. There's one that runs all the way down and into this firecracker. And so from the plum tree behind, we have a line that runs down along, and we've got 3 lines coming off of here running to emitters on each of the twisted myrtle bushes, and it goes down across. It'll go underneath the riprap, and from there there's a loop around the emu bush over there. We've got a line that runs off over here, and I've got a drip loop that runs between all the sagebush plants. I just weaved it in and out of the bushes. There's a drip loop and it dead ends at that. Okay, back over here, another heated bend down, going across, underneath the riprap again. Another emitter up here, goes to the yellow bells on the side of the house. And then we go back down under the ground cloth. It's going to go all the way along the side of the house. And finish up here, the final one, which is the gum tree, which has actually finished blooming now. Little bottle brush tree. That's it. Now we're going to pressurize it and see if it leaks. So everything is back in. There are no leaks to speak of. Got all this back in, including the crushed granite. All the rocks are back in. Dirt first, rocks second. Difficult to do. This area is all covered up again. Got a good loop around there. Produces a nice amount of water for the tree. Yeah, I couldn't get all the rocks back in the same place, but hopefully I put some dirt in there from the backyard that will gradually settle in and hold them in place. There's 2 other spots like that. Now there's definitely a drip loop for that. Got one going over to the firecracker plant, and that one, whatever that one's called. We have a nice drip loop around this emu plant, which I'm sure is going to go absolutely bananas now. Got all this in. Here's where we took out the rocks and put more rocks in. Yeah, difficult to get them back as it was. All this area was dug up, and again, here's the riprap. We had to go underneath. And we had the one feed for the big yellow bell. All the rocks back along here. Tucked it underneath the ground cloth, so that made it much easier. And it's got the emitter on the end of the tree, the bottle tree. Yay, all done. No leaks out here.